Sorry, it's just kind of exciting when you watch JoJo, and I went on other people's channels to see if they had reviewed JoJo. Most of the reviews that I have seen pretty much are doing poses in their intro, which is quite funny, but I decided to do my own little thing, so yeah. So if you haven't already guessed by what I just referenced and by the title of this video, I am going to be reviewing today Part 1 and Part 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So, let's get this started. Holy shit, this is gonna be a really corny intro. So, what is JoJo? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is simply put in one word, bizarre. In this anime, you get it to where there are birds with cat-like heads, man-eating squirrels, vampires, zombies, and just manly men doing manly things. If this all makes sense to you, what is wrong with you? I mean, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is technically a series that you cannot take seriously. You just can't. You have to turn your brain off for a while to actually enjoy the show, because if you do take this show seriously, you are not going to enjoy it one bit. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is classified as a shonen and a seinen type of series, and it is very enjoyable, and I can see why it does appeal to both audiences. And when it comes to JoJo, even though this series might not necessarily have a plot and it kills off characters constantly, which this series does do, and while it does follow the same type of tropes that you will find in most other shonen out there, and while it is random and bizarre at that, and it completely seems like, you know, this anime is on crack and makes no sense whatsoever, it's still very enjoyable and executes all of its tropes quite well. Now, while JoJo's Bizarre Adventure doesn't necessarily have a plot, it does in fact have a premise for each and every generation of JoJo, or in this case, each part of JoJo. And what I mean by that is, in Part 1, we get focused on the first JoJo that we are introduced to, named Jonathan Joestar, and we get to see his internal conflict and external conflict with his adopted brother named Dio. And in Part 2, we get to see a new type of JoJo in the generation named Joseph Joestar, and it focuses on some of the mysteries that were in Part 1 that we really didn't get answered to. If anybody does know what I'm talking about the so-called mask. That's all I'm going to say, because this is going to be a spoiler-free review. And that is something that I really enjoyed out of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. While it doesn't necessarily focus on a concrete plot that runs for the entirety of the series, it does in fact carry on from other generations of JoJo's and focuses on the characters within those generations. And that is something that I really did enjoy out of this anime series. And because of the reason why this series doesn't necessarily have a solid plot line, many people say that you can just go ahead and watch the other parts of JoJo. You don't have to watch the previous parts of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And to a certain degree, they are right. However, when it comes to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it would make the viewing experience for you personally if you actually checked out the other parts of JoJo, because other characters that were in previous parts might end up getting introduced in later parts of the series, those that survived, of course, and it just makes the viewing experience that much more enjoyable, because you actually get to see possibly one of your favorite characters from the previous parts back for another season. Now, which part did I enjoy most? Well, I'm gonna have to say that I really did enjoy both parts equally. However, when it comes to the best JoJo that was in Part 1 and Part 2 of JoJo, I'm gonna have to say that Part 2 had a better JoJo, as Joseph Joestar was really funny. He was really funny, and he was more cunning, it seemed. Like, he was very awesome in his way on how he went about doing things. When it comes to Jonathan, on the other hand, Jonathan just seemed kind of bland to me. However, in Part 1 of JoJo, I would have to say that the writing that was done in Part 1 and the execution in Part 1 was done way better than in Part 2. So, honestly, I both liked these parts equally of JoJo. It's just one thing that I didn't really necessarily like from the other, but that's what you're going to get out of a series like this. The animation that is done in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is very well done animation at that, and it is very unique compared to what you would see in most other series out there, especially when it comes to the character designs. And the character designs that are in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure look so awesome to me. Like, you can tell that the animation studio really put time and effort to the character designs, as they are really wacky and really cool. Now, one of the things that I really want to talk about when it comes to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is its soundtrack. The soundtrack in this series, guys, is phenomenal. It really is. The openings, the soundtrack alone, like the background music, it just does a wonderful job. In my personal opinion, I'm gonna have to go with part 1's opening, because in my personal opinion, like, just the way, how it gets you really hyped for the coming episode that you were about to watch, and that was awesome, dude. Part 2 had a really good opening as well. However, I didn't necessarily think it was as good as Part 1's opening, but that's just my personal opinion. Just overall, not the openings, but even the endings and the background OST, I'm really enjoying the Pillar Man soundtrack. Like, that's awesome. I love the Egyptian style music, dude. Speaking of the music, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has a really cool thing where they name certain characters off of certain bands from Eastern culture and Western culture. In part 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, we have a character named AC/DC who was most likely inspired by the band AC/DC. And we have also in part 1 a character named Will Sapelli who was most likely inspired by Led Zeppelin. This anime was just seriously bizarre, but yet so entertaining, and I loved every minute of it. And this is definitely a series that I recommend to everyone out there to check out. Even if you are more of the story-driven type of anime watcher, I still highly recommend you check out JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because it could open your mind to other anime out there that not necessarily focus on a story, but at the same time, even if it doesn't have a story, it can be entertaining to you. Before I go, guys, let me just give you all a quick little update on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, because I'm pretty sure there are some of you out there who are wondering if I will review Part 3 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I recently just finished Episode 8 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, so I got about 40 more episodes to check out. If I can actually get those all done in time before Part 4 comes out, I will be a happy camper, because JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4 is something that I really do plan to review for the spring season of anime. So, yeah, that about does it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments down below on what you thought about this video, and what did you think about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1 and Part 2 of the series. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and of course, if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like. I greatly appreciate it. And if you want to stay up to date to my future content on this channel, guys, then please hit that red subscribe button below, and you'll never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys. Love you all, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Have a great day.